are going to be moving on to inequalities today. So your learning target, you're going to be able to graph an inequality and write an inequality after today. When you think of inequalities, I look at the root word n equal. That means it doesn't equal one thing. It's either going to equal, it's going to equal an infinite amount of solutions. So notice that previous in this unit, we've always gotten one answer for a variable where x is one specific thing. Here, it's going to be an infinite amount of solutions. How we write it is we use the symbols. Bigger than or equal. I should use the word greater than. Less than and less than are equal. Some properties that you need to know are if they're colored in, and then what direction greater than goes to, and which direction less than go to. Remember, if the open mouth is first, that means greater. If the point is first, it means less than. Some kids get confused with which way greater than is or less than. So if it's colored in, if the circle's going to be colored in, there's a line under the symbol. So colored in would be like this, greater than or equal, and then the other one, less than or equal. Greater than goes to the right because you get bigger, and less than goes to the left because you get smaller. So here's the steps. Again, our learning target number 1, you can graph inequalities. So what you want to do is make a circle on the number line, determine if you're going to color it in or not, and then you determine your direction that you go. And then you graph it. So make a circle, color it in if you have to, and then go the direction it needs to go. So the first one, we have y is greater than or equal to -3. So I make a circle at -3. I color it in because there's a line under it. And I'm greater than. Greater than means I go to the right. I get bigger to the right. Next one, I have x is less than -3. So I have a circle at -3. It is not colored in because there's not a line under it. And less goes to the left. And my solution would really go all the way to -infinity. The next one, z is less than or equal to -6. I'd have a circle at -6. It's colored in because there's a line under the inequality. And less means left, so it would go to the left. I do want you to notice, and I'm sure that some of you have already figured this trick out, notice that it goes in the direction, the arrow goes in the direction of the inequality. What I mean here for this top one, it's greater than, notice the arrow went like that. B, it was less than, so my arrow tip should have went like that. C, less than, my arrow tip should have went that way. That works all the time, contingent, and only if the variable is on the left. Notice here the variable is always on the left-hand side. Sometimes the variable's on the right, and that trick will not work. Okay, your second learning target is writing inequalities. So you're going to have to write an inequality from the graph. So you're going to write the number the x or the circle is on, not the x. You're going to write the number the circle's on, determine direction of the inequality symbol. So determine direction of inequality symbol. I'm forgetting my B. All right. So when I look at this first one, I see that my circle is at -2. You always put the variable first. Always. You need to. So I should have x And then I have -2 is my number. So I need to know, is it bigger than or is it smaller than -2? It's going to the right, so that means it's bigger than -2, and there's no line under it. The next one, I always put my variable first and the number. So I have an x first and then 9. So it looks like it's going to the left. Left means less than. It's colored in, so you put a line under it. X is less than or equal to 9. The next one, I put an x and my number, 0, and then I determine direction. So I have, it's going to the right. Right means greater than. So, remember, if it's to the left, it's less. If it's to the right, it's greater. All right, next, learning target. Hey, variable on the right-hand side. It's backwards. So remember that trick that I told you? If x is less than 5, your arrow will go like this. Well, that only works if it's on the left-hand side. If it's on the right-hand side, it's flipped. Notice the x flipped sides, so the arrow needs to flip sides. So, or you can use logic, but let me show you both strategies. If I have 5 is greater than or equal to x, well, if 5 is bigger than or equal to x, that means x is smaller than or equal to 5. So circle colored in at 5 going to the left. Again, this is my logic strategy. If 5 is bigger than or equal to x, that means x has to be smaller than or equal to 5. Colored in circle at 5 going to the left. The trick, your arrow should go like this. However, it's flipped, so the arrow should go that way. Okay, -3 is less than or equal to x. Use logic. If -3 is less than x, then x is bigger. Bigger goes to the right, and it's colored in. So that was my logic. And then you can use the trick. The arrow's supposed to go this way, but it's flipped, so it's going to go that way. Okay, in the next one, -7 plus 3 is bigger than x. You first need to figure out what -7 plus 3 is, and I'm going to write down here so I have room. And that's -4 is bigger than x. So again, you can use logic. If -4 is bigger than x, then x has to be smaller than -4. That means going to the left. And then the trick, the arrow is supposed to go this way, but x is on the flipped side, so the arrow has to flip. So it should really go to the left. Please know this is the most common mistake for students. When the x is flipped on the other side, students don't know which direction to put the inequality symbol on the number line. So, 2 strategies. You can use logic or apply that trick. If the variable is flipped, the arrow is going to be flipped. Okay? So that was graphing. That was part of your graphing learning target. You can graph them. And our last part of our learning target is the last part of writing inequalities from a word phrase. So inequalities, remember, means that it can be multiple things, an infinite amount of things. So if I'm writing an inequality from a word phrase, there's 4 main vocabulary words aligned with it. We have at least, at most, no more than, and no less than. And you need to know what they all mean. I'm going to use them all in a sentence. So at least, if I said I wanted to go on the wild thing at Valley Fair, and I have to be at least, I don't know how many, 48 inches tall. Well, that means that would I have to be taller than it or smaller than it? Would I have to be greater than 42 inches or smaller than 48 inches? I'd have to be greater than, or I could equal 48 inches. At most, if I said I can have at most 34 kids in my classroom, that means that I can have 34 kids or smaller than or less than 34 kids. So at most means less than or equal to. No more than, if I say my daughter can have no more than 3 friends sleep over, that means she can have less than 3 friends sleep over, or she can equal 3 friends. And no less than. If you're talking about no less than, that means it has to be bigger or it can equal the number. So we have at least, at most, no more than, no less than. So let's apply this. Create an inequality from the following situations. A teenager can have no more than 1 passenger for the first 6 months of driving. A teenager can have no more than. So that means their passenger has to be smaller than 1, or it can equal 1. So P is less than or equal to 1. A classroom can seat 36 students. So if that's how many kids can fit in my classroom, my students need to be smaller than 36, or they can equal 36. Okay, the next one. The speed limit on Highway 10 is 65 miles per hour. So that means your speed, what do you think? Speed limit, does that mean you can go faster than 65 miles per hour or less than 65 miles per hour? It means you go less, or you can equal, of course, 65 miles per hour. Okay, and the last one, the amount you need to buy a $350 snowboard. So your money, do you need more money than $350 or less than $350? You would need more than, or of course you could have exactly, so you could equal $350 for your snowboard. And that's our learning target today. Summary, let me just make a little summary what we've done. We've graphed, so we graphed normal, x is bigger than 5. We've graphed flipped, 5 is less than x. We wrote inequalities given a number line, and we wrote inequalities given a word phrase. So you are going to be expected to apply all of those properties in your homework assignment today.